We're back again with another episode of This Week in Raid. Hey guys, so finally he sleeps back again with a new episode of This Week in Raid, and we missed last week. I was traveling for a big car show on the main YouTube channel, so didn't get a This Week in Raid out last week. So this is for the last 2 weeks. We've got a lot going on. They've made some changes. They added some borders around some different characters that's into the settings, and the little changes last week. Nothing huge, but this week some big stuff going on. It's a major changes in the game. First though, we've been waiting on Fateweaver to get released, and the expectation was that it was going to be a Deck of Fates, which it was, but the Deck of Fates was going to come by way of, summoning. You were going to need to use all your shards, so everybody was holding on to at least 20 sacreds to make sure you guaranteed to get her, and they flipped the script on us, and the Deck of Fates was Soul Stones and champion training, and the champion training was awful. You gained no extra points for any of 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star. 4-star champions were the first champions with increased point value, so it was difficult, to say the least, to be able to throw in on that. And if you didn't have a ton of soul stones, you weren't gathering a bunch of points for this. And for me, traveling last week, it was super difficult to find the time to do this week. And no joke, came down to the last 4 minutes. The last 4 minutes for me to be able to claim Freyja free to play without spending any money in the store. 4 minutes up till 5 a.m. trying to finish this out. I felt like Saf. It was a very, very, very time consuming, very rough Deck of Fates event to be able to claim all 100 points here for her. I used every bit of brews. I was over 2,000 brews to go in on this. Depleted a ton of stock for shards at the last minute, because we started to gain points for that, because if you were up in the middle of the night or your reset time was relevant in the very last couple of hours of this, when you were claiming everything, you started to get double points, because the path event was released at the same exact time. So if you were able to claim some shards, use some shards to get into the hero's path here for the last points for Brewguard. If you used your points there, then you could pull in some 3-star, 4-star champions using sacreds and then kind of double it up. So that last hour and a half or so in this was touch and go, trying to make sure it was achievable at that last second. We now are at the end of the calendar. The calendar is complete for Brewguard. So if you haven't finished it at this point, everything is unlocked to be able to do it. The hero path isn't as hard as we expected. This is kind of taking the place of the summon rush, the second summon rush. So we only had champion chase, but because you can summon champions here for hero's path, and I'm really interested the way they did this, because this is not only giving you the last few points, but there are also the ability to grab a 5-star split soul if you're going all in. So instead of there being a path event following this, it looks like we might have 2 weeks off before the November fusion goes to be able to replenish our resources. And dear God, I need to be able to replenish resources, because I am just out of everything. If you go here, I normally have, 2,000 to 3,000 brews, and those 700 magic, 700 of the spirit and force are down into 100 or less, just running through all of this training, trying to get those last few components there for Freyja. That's kind of where the whole fusion is kind of ending up. That's where it's coming to an end. But that's not the big thing. The big thing that has happened this week, dear Lord, is the changes to the rebalance of Hydra. That has what has got everyone up in arms. They have made some changes to it. They lowered the turn limit from 1,500 to 1,000, and I understand why they're doing this. If I had finished the team that I had started for Yannicka and Wixwell, that team, which was working up until a week ago, it was working manual, but it took hours to complete, and it really wasn't. It was really, really, really difficult to get those like billion point hits. I'm definitely abandoning it now. It's no longer going to be worth the effort to go in because of all of these changes. So they've lowered the turn limit from 1,500 to 100. The Mark of the Hydra, which is a big deal. The Mark of the Hydra, when it comes onto your champ, no longer will taunt, will help. If the Devouring skill will ignore taunt, but only marks one champion who will be affected by the Devouring skill. Its effect can't be removed. Its duration can't be decreased. The Mark of the Hydra is placed irrespective of the number of debuffs on the champion. If a champion has a taunt, the Mark of the Hydra can only be placed on that champion. If one champion has a taunt and another has Mark of the Hydra, the Devouring skill will ignore taunt. Now, this is the thing. The whole issue with taunt is no longer kind of you're gonna get eaten. You're gonna get eaten. The taunt is not keeping you from being eaten. That last line, the devouring will not happen until the taunt buff expires or is removed, is gone. It is finished, kaput, out of here. It doesn't. It's no longer an issue. So taunt is now dead. Threat escalation. Each subsequent time a champion is marked, the countdown until devouring decreases by 1 turn to a minimum of 2 turns is the way it was working. And now each subsequent time a champion is marked, the countdown until decreases by 1 to a minimum of 2. A champion is devoured, the digesting countdown decreases by 1 turn to a minimum of 2. Each subsequent time a champion is devoured, after the minimum digestion countdown of 2 turns is reached, the amount of damage required to free a devoured champion increases. So they've made it harder to get your champs back. Now that's just the main thing. Those changes have got people freaked out, but there's more. Decapitation now. Once a Hydra's head hits 0, it will be decapitated and becomes an exposed neck, with an entirely new set of skills and mechanics, including its own HP bar equal to the combined HP of 2 Hydra heads. So its HP doubles. So once you kill a Hydra head, the HP doubles. But the difference is when the Hydra head runs out of energy, it just respawns. It's so a new random Hydra head will grow out of the exposed neck after 2 turns, or if the exposed neck is killed. So if you kill all of the HP out of it, if all heads have been decapitated, the next respawn will see 2 heads join the battle. Places the decapitated debuff on the exposed neck. That hasn't changed. It no longer, the receives triple damage is a little different. Receives triple damage from enemy attacks while in a decapitated state. When the 2 turns are over, or if the exposed neck is killed, a new head will regrow from it. So we still get the triple damage, but they're going to come back a lot quicker. So that's a little bit more frustrating. But the whole point of this is they're attempting to make Hydra difficult. It became easy with specific team builds, And there's some champions that really changed the way Hydra was handled. They're not nerfing individual champions. Well, we were worried about Wixwell. Wixwell's not getting a nerf. They are buffing the Hydra. So it's a little different, but it's better than what we were expecting. So we still have Wixwell. It didn't change the way he handles Clan Boss or anything like that, but it is changing the way some of these meta teams are being handled in Hydra. Serpent's Will. Serpent's Will used to reduce all damage of a new head takes by 75%. But now it is 1 turn rotation. It's 100%. That's hardcore. And they did change the way it works. If you kill multiple heads at once, or multiple heads, are regrown at the same exact time, only one head gets it. If 2 come up, only 1. If 2 regrow, only 1 will have Serpent's Will. If they appear on the same turn or get killed at the same time, only 1 receives the Serpent's Will buff. But if you kill 3, this isn't in here, but if you kill 3, 2 pop back with Serpent's Will. So it's not exactly the same thing. And if you kill 4, I think you can get 3. I think only 1 is disappearing without the Serpent's Will. And if the turn count goes, it is a possibility that you can have all 4 with Serpent's Will for 1 turn. But that's going to be really odd for it to fall that way. So they've made some changes since this as well. This is the one that is really, really, really shaking things up. Shield. Okay, so the shields have been changed. We'll just look at the after. Champion's HP bar is reinforced with a shield for the indicated number of turns. Damage is calculated as normal, but is first applied to the shield unless the attack is stated to ignore the shield. Nothing there. When the shield buff expires at the value, the shield reaches 0. Buff is removed and any further damage is applied as normal. Fine. Nothing changes. Shield buffs have a maximum cap of 1 million HP. Meaning a champion can't have a shield that exceeds this value under any circumstances. Damage dealt to the shield does not count as damage dealt to the champion, so effects such as lifesteal do not benefit from it. That is a big deal. It's not just Hydra. This is just shield changes. It does affect some players like Yannica, Wixwell to an extent, but I don't think it's really going to screw up. If you've got specific boss builds for like Clan Boss and stuff, and then this is the note there at the bottom. The shield cap is designed to prevent certain champion combinations from becoming game breaking. However, they will still perform extremely well in Clan Boss battles. Both Clan Boss battles and Hydra battles. Shield buffs provided by champion skills and artifact sets both have their own individual cap. That means that while neither type of shield can exceed the set limit of 1 million HP, they can stack up to a maximum value of 2 million HP. So for Clan Boss, I think this really isn't going to change. Like, if you've got a Clan Boss team for Ultra Nightmare that's putting out 500 million or more, if you've built one of the Wixwell teams, like I can put about 800 mil damage down and kill off Ultra Nightmare with a Wixwell team. It's not going to be a massive change. You're still going to be able to one key your Clan Bosses. That's not going to be an issue. But if you've got a team that is relying on that shield for damage relay like Yannica, I think it's really going to affect things. We'll have to see how this does moving forward. Trunda. Big changes to Trunda. I don't have Trunda, so I don't really give a shit about the Trunda changes. That's a champion that I've never been able to pull. So I've never had the advantage of having Trunda. So this one doesn't bother me at all, but a lot of people have Trunda specifically built for their Hydra team, and they are pissed. Some people are like, well, it's going to affect it a lot. It's not going to affect it completely. And then other people are like, well, she's completely screwed. They've ended. The reign of Tundra is done. there's basically just some big changes here for Trunda, but because I don't have her, I really, truly just don't care. It's sad. I just don't care. But yeah, that's the Trunda changes. I think the specific basic setup for all of this was to make Hydra a little more balanced for everyone. So if you were one of those people that had built the Yannica team, the Wixwell Yannica team that was putting in billion point hits, they're trying to take that away from you. If you have Trunda and you're able to just dominate in the Hydra clash because of, you know, a team full of Trundas and that kind of stuff, then they're trying to take that away from you. I think the note that they said that I read earlier today was that the entire point of Hydra was that they didn't want you to be able to find the turn limit on a Hydra. The Hydra was supposed to end with you getting your ass kicked. Hydra was never supposed to be able to be killed. Like the fact that there's never a point that you kill off the clan boss. That's what was supposed to happen with Hydra. You're never supposed to be able to kill the Hydra. They are supposed to kill you. It's supposed to be so difficult that it is just a frustrating component to the game. But we've found ways around it and have been able to kind of mitigate the damage, and we just found workarounds and have been able to exploit the mechanics of Hydra. So the point of this is no soup for you. The Hydra was never supposed to be this easy for specific team builds. That's what it is. Do I agree with it? Kinda. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, if I had built, I have a ton of time specifically into the Yannica team, and it was a recent decision to build it, and I have a lot of time that is now wasted in that team. But it doesn't frustrate me, because the only reason I was building that team was because I felt like I had to compete with everybody else who already had that team. And if you did not have the specific components, or you missed out on some of the fusions to get it, if you didn't have Emic and you couldn't find Naya, and it's frustrating when you're missing one or two champions, or specifically because those champions aren't available. It's frustrating. And I think the point of this was not to piss off the people who had those teams, but to alleviate the problem of everybody else unable to build those teams. And because of that, it's fine. It is what it is. Don't get your panties in a bunch over the Hydra changes. Everybody has to deal with the same Hydra changes. It should equalize the playing field. And if it doesn't, you should have been playing this game long enough to realize that a lot of times when stuff like this happens, they'll fix it. They will go out of their way to rebalance it or adjust things in the other way. You know, there's a lot of games where when stuff like this happens and they start to nerf or buff, it screws stuff up, and it takes forever for a rebalance or changes to hit. And I haven't seen that out of this game. When things get changed and there's a reason for the changes, generally if you have a little bit of patience and you kind of wait with it, things are going to work out in your favor. So that's it. I am Finally He Sleeps. Thanks a lot for hanging out for this weekend raid. Make sure you are subscribed here on the channel so you never miss these videos when they go live. As long as you guys keep showing up, I'll keep making videos. Hope you enjoyed the video. Over there are the links to my other channels on YouTube. Make sure you check those out as well. FC Mobile. In the middle is Gearheads for everything cars. And then the last one is Cringeworthy, where we make fun of the alpha male. It's good for a few laughs. And finally, he sleeps. Until next time.